Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today, our group We Strong would like to present to you our iteration of the tele-absence device from the award-winning story by Michael Bernstein. Our group consists of Darren, which is me, Chinyan, Yijie, Jovan, and Jianxin. So to kick us off, I will let Chinyan give us a short summary of the story and the device as it was described in the story.
Hi, I'm Chinyan. Let me introduce the story summary for you. A sixth grade boy named Tony used a VR specs and gloves to study in a telepresence school. Originally, the equipments were belongs to Andrew Drummond and he lost them in Manhattan. Tony found them as he lived nearby and he used them for his own good. Previously, Tony suffered from violence while studying in a local school. So, he yearned to have classes in a nice school. Sooner, he was being found out stealing the equipment by Andrew during the class. His teacher, Miss Elise, realized his situations and decided to help Tony continue his study in the school. He sneaked him in as a new identity, along with specs and full simulator. Tony was able to attend classes regularly like the others. But good things don't last. Due to the pressure applied by Andrew, he had to expose the truth and resulted in being expelled by the school. Miss Elise did not give up on Tony, and at the end, she decided to give him face-to-face teaching in-house. Let's move on to the introduction of the technologies mentioned in the story. The spec can be used to visualize the environment of every corner in the school, including classes and field. Data gloves are used to synchronize movement of user so he or she can behave naturally in virtual environment just like real time. In the story, Miss Alice used her earpiece to switch the environment for her to talk with Tony alone. Of course, its basic function is to receive and transfer sound. During the class, students use their virtual desk with built-in computer to get involved in a discussion. There are some buttons on the desk for specific functions such as answering teachers' question. At last, the simulator. With the simulator, students are able to participate in outdoor games or physical education class. That's the end of this part. Let's move on to the next part, technology.
Thanks, Chinyan. I'm EJ. Me and Darren will be the one who are going to introduce you guys about the production of modified teleabsence model from our group. So here is the simple blueprint for our production, and as you can observe that our VR sets can be basically grouped into four parts, which are user part, intelligent chair, which classify more details as left and right arms of it. Design, we have finalized prioritize the essential requirement for student to learn and study. For instance, we have decided to remove the treadmill board as we think that it is redundant for students to have it. Now let's put our attention of user part. For a user, he or she will need to sit on the intelligent chair and puts on the VR goggles which has a connector on it. After passing the authentication stage, which is essential to ensure the privacy of user, the intelligent VR system will then power on. VR goggles we design will be the same as the picture shown as it is light and mobile. Students have to stay like at least an hour in order to attend their class, and such lightened goggles will thus not be a burden for them. Apart from the basic function which is provide virtual environment vision, it also can be used to let tutors to ensure the attention of the user as it can scan the eyes of the user and provide the relevant data to the admin in charge. Connector only validate the connection between user and the server and transmit all the real-life data continuously at the same time, such as voice. There is another connector on the intelligent chair which connect the data provided from intelligent chair, such as sensor and touchpad, to the laptop or desktop of user. The most important equipment of the VR set will be the intelligent chair, which acts like a CPU of a computer that contains memory, buses, and registers. It has two sensors where one will be on the chair back and another one will be on the chair seat, and both of them are used to ensure the attendance of the user. Besides, it also contains two multipurpose arms and they both have drawer under of them. I will now pass the mic to Darren, and he will be the one who introduced the arms to you guys.
Thanks, EJ. So now I'm going to talk about the functionalities included in the right and left arm holders. We have specifically designed several functions to enhance the student's experience while using the device. To improve ergonomics, we have decided to include thick padding on both arms to reduce students' discomfort. We have also included several function buttons which allows them to navigate the system and complete simple tasks such as booting up the system, virtual hand raising functions to gain the teacher's attention, etc. The touchpad will allow the student to complete their work and allow for examinations to be done with the smart pad that is included in the left armrest. Speaking of the left armrest, we have decided to implement a fingerprint scanner which helps to further authenticate the identification of students, which is one of the flaws of the current tele-absent tag in the story, since its lack of thorough authentication allows for unauthorized access. In fact, we have also included smart gloves which can be used in tandem of other authentication and tracking devices, so the motion of students can be tracked and recorded to prevent things such as bullying or cheating in exams. Lastly, there is also a compartment area for them to store their stuff. Now I'm gonna go give it over to my teammate Jensen, who will discuss more in detail about the AI implementation.
Other than the tangible technology mentioned before, we can further improve our system by implementing artificial intelligence throughout the learning process. The overall implementation can be split into two categories, one which assists the students who are learning, while the other one assists the educator. First, by utilizing artificial intelligence and machine learning, we are able to observe each student during class and their schoolwork, so that we can produce a set of not only learning guidelines, but also homework and assessments specifically made for the student based on their capability and weaknesses. Furthermore, the virtual intelligent assistant also enables students to access various resources and materials from the online library or research facilities by answering their query and uncertainties. Moreover, the assistant can also provide meaningful information visualization options such as forming graphs, both during answering the student's questions or helping the student to present their ideas. On the other hand, teachers can better manage the class with the help of artificial intelligence by receiving feedbacks from the system and improve to provide informative and more entertaining lectures to the students to grab their attention. In addition, the artificial intelligence can also reduce the burden on teachers by helping them to mark the homework from the students while also reducing potential marking errors. By implementing machine learning while marking the papers, the artificial intelligence can form a better grading system where it is fair to all the students to promote enthusiasm and competitiveness between the students. After discussing the AI implementations of the technology, I will now talk about the pros of the technology before passing it to my other teammates. Among the several advantages of conducting classes through virtual reality, one of the most notable benefits must be its convenience. Being able to attend classes at home or literally anywhere encourages students to attend classes more frequently and with much comfort. The ability to attend classes at home proves to be essential, especially during pandemic outbreaks such as the recent COVID-19 outbreak. Without students actually going to school, this technology eliminates the use of multiple miscellaneous costs and resources for both parties. For example, transportation costs for students, while lab materials, maintenance manpower, and running costs for schools. Here now is my other teammate to talk about the cons and ethical aspect of the technology.
When it comes to the implementation of such technology, the pros and cons are really just two sides of the same coin. Now I'll get into the next point, the cons. First and foremost, the budget may be an issue for the least fortunate. Devices such as this cost an arm and a leg. Lack of face-to-face communication among students and lecturers is another negative impact of online learning, as building relationships with lecturers and classmates are important, and will not require more effort in an online environment. This device may also cause laziness, as there is no one to physically be present to discipline students, thus the possibility of absences. This would then require students to have intensely strong self-discipline for students to attend classes and meet deadlines. Last but not least, students' social skills can come underdeveloped as interaction amongst the students are not present. Like stated before, students will now require more effort to interact. That being said, to counter the cons of implementing this technology, many considerations could be applied. For example, students could be advised to apply for PTPN, or in layman's term, a student loan. This will greatly reduce the burden of having to pay huge sums of money at once for the device, and students will only require to pay for the device over the span of a few years without interest. Another consideration is to reduce cost in such a way that schools or tuition centers could buy this device in bulk, which will in then reduce the cost, or even requesting government authorities to subsidize part of the cost as part of student education welfare. When it comes to urban areas, internet access may not be an option for many. Requesting for internet access in those areas is also another consideration, as it helps students from everywhere in the world to implement this technology for higher education. Another alternative is for students with little to no internet access so to opt for another device, augmented reality technology. For this to work, students will be required to go to school once a week or month to have interactive classes installed so that they can attend classes at home. Now that we've got the considerations over with, I will now pass my other teammate the opportunity to speak about ethical reasoning.
Thanks. Now I'll start to talk about the ethical reasoning that we've applied in our implementation of teleabsence. First and foremost, enhancement of quality of life. The convenience of implementing such technology in our daily lives in higher education will certainly enhance our life. The reduction in miscellaneous costs and resource fees will not only reduce the overall cost of higher education in the long run, the need to tire out lecturers from physical labs and long working hours will also be decreased. The next ethical reasoning that we have applied is to be fair and take actions to not discriminate. The values of equality, tolerance, respect for others, and justice governs this principle. Failure to design for inclusiveness and accessibility for every student may constitute as unfair discrimination. Hence, while a consideration to reduce costs or implementing alternative technologies such as augmented reality are present to tackle these issues to be fair to all students and to give them all equal opportunity to participate in online higher education. So now I'll pass to my other group mate to show you our APA citations.
So this is our bibliography, which includes all of our citation of images and resources we have used throughout the slides. That's it. We hope that our ideas and point of views can be a reference to make the online VR learning sections available as soon as possible when we have to use it any essential time such as this pandemic period. We would like to invite you guys to ask us any questions that you have regarding our presentation. While answering your questions, we will play a clip of 3D models of our teleabsence implementation in motion, since normal images are just boring. And once again, thanks for your time and hope you have a great day.